It's happening, man. Boxing basement in the house. The shit will be right here. Right here. Remember to like. Stuff the haters, yeah. Anyway, yo. So, Edgar Berlanga with Padraig McCrory. I don't know why I did that in a Kent, Northern Ireland accent, so I did. But yeah, so Edgar Berlanga, also known, a.k.a. as Benny Blanco from the Bronx. You remember that? Carlito's Way, one of the great old films. I mean, I'm sure you can find some agenda. They used to put it in more subtly in the old films, but still, the films in the 80s and 90s are so superior to the rubbish you get now. Yeah, Benny Blanco from the Bronx. Pachanga wanted to kill him. The cowardly. When he's not cowardly, when he's just a turncoat, disloyal. Pachanga turned his back on Carlito, man. And then he got Carlito killed by Benny Blanco. But then Benny Blanco killed Pachanga for disrespecting him before, so that was fun. But it's a Puerto Rican thing, I guess. But yeah. Edgar Berlanga always reminds me of Benny Blanco, but probably not as dangerous. Yeah, I did a preview of this. I had said, I believe, Berlanga in round 8. And, the fight, the thing is about Berlanga, I was like, how can you have, right? I don't know what 16 first round stoppages in a row, and then go to points every. It's just so bizarre. It reeks of fixing. To be honest with you, build a guy up, get him to bang out everyone in the first round, which will make a big name for him, which will supersede his actual talent, and then when you start moving to real fights, then the guy's struggling a bit, and certainly. Well, I mean, the thing is, like, the problem with what's his face, McCrory, and these kind of guys is, like I said, the British and Irish fighters tend not to travel very well. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't see any necessary sign of that here, but especially when you go to North America or especially the United States, they tend not to travel that well. Even the top guys, you can say your Lennox Lewis did fine. Yeah, but Lewis wasn't, listen, he wasn't really a British homeboy. He lived there for a few years and then went to Canada, and he lived all around the world. I think he spent most of his pro career living in the United States. So, there's not going to be the jet lag. There's not going to be this, that, and the other. So, anyways, but, a lot of people go, oh, McCrory's got a chance. He can punch. I was like, yeah, hang on. He's got 18 wins and 9 KOs. 50% KO rate, as a super middleweight is not a puncher, believe that. But yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, you can't get guys who can punch harder than their record shows because they're very cautious, like Bivol being one of them. On the British level, Catterall, Jack Catterall. But yeah, so some people give him a chance. I didn't see it. I said around 8. One of my fans, I forget, sorry to not be able to name check you, I forget, but one of my fans said around 6 a few times, so that was bang on. I'd be put on some cash money there. But yeah, in the end, so I didn't have that much faith in McCrory, but he started, he got that nice boxing style, to be honest, where, you're fainting, you're moving 3 inches here, 6 inches there, 3 inches forward, 6. Do you get me? Like, you know what I mean? And a lot of movement. Berlanga just didn't do much in the first 2 rounds. Do you get me? He really didn't do much in the first 3 rounds, He, I mean, obviously, yeah, you're allowed to feel out. You're allowed to look at the guy. You're allowed to download information. As they say these days, all these cliches that idiots repeat because they can't come up with their own phrases. Oh, he's downloading him now. Oh, he's so original, blood. How many times have you read that? Especially about a Lomachenko fight. But yeah, I mean, the first 3 rounds, well, but Berlanga just didn't do much. I think he threw a low shot, which was quite nasty. And he dug an elbow, and he was dirty, Berlanga. And he wasn't particularly subtle about it either. But the referee, once the homeboy, the referee won't take a point off until they do something real bad, that first elbow, deliberate, he pulled it back, bosh, in his face. The low shot was so low, and he also threw another one later. He didn't really get so much as a warning. But that's the usual bias we expect in boxing. The first 3 rounds, not much happened. And, at this point, you thought, yeah, and Berlanga hasn't started to lift. He started slowly. He hasn't really thrown any shots, but But McCrory was confident. He looked confident. I mean, he then started to pick it up a bit better longer. Benny Blanco picked it up, man. And Benny Blanco started to land shots. He had a few effective body shots as well as low blows. And the commentator, I think it's Sergio Mora, the Latin snake, who I think he said, if someone keeps on throwing low, you got to throw a low shot back at him to let him know. No. You stop that, blood. Yeah, you'll get a warning as well, but then the ref is going to take them together, get angry against them, say no more low blows. But you can't let a guy bash you in the testicles. So yeah, I mean, I'm reading done some forums. Some people, I wasn't impressed with McCrory. I expected a killer punch. I was like, are you nuts? Have you checked his fights? Have you watched his fights? He's hurt and stopped people. But the one I watched, Betty Bunn, was a variety of shots, and were a bit army, on punches. And 9 kills in 18 fights ain't no puncher at the super middleweight limit. I don't know where these guys. People get influenced by what they read. So a few people say something, and then it gets repeated by others, and then it becomes truth. It's a false truth, isn't it? So Berlanga, yeah, and then he started to step up a bit. Certainly, you just saw it in the 6th round. It's like, right, I'm going to close the show. It was very, very significant. He started throwing a lot more punches, harder shots. McCrory couldn't take the heat. He went over. Just before that, I don't know why, there was a big chat, and they were getting really animated in McCrory's corner. And I was like, what's going on there? You always get suspicious. Why are they getting so animated? Because I didn't think McCrory looked that hurt. He got caught by a couple of nasty body shots, that's for sure. That definitely took the stuffing out of him, but it wasn't like a beating. He wasn't getting no beating. But the way they were acting was like, I was like, what? I almost thought they're going to pull him out. And they did pull him out in the end. They threw the towel in at the end of the 6th round, but he hadn't taken a smashing. I've seen far worse. Fair enough, There's trainers don't know. I wasn't particularly impressed by Berlanga. I didn't expect to be, because his limitations have been exposed, and of course every fighter, and that weight is going to be Canelo, and that's fine. Everyone wants the Canelo paycheck, man. Set you up for life, fam. Yeah. You can put pictures of Canelo up in your house after you fought him because, you've got a nice wedge. I'm John Ryder, must be happy. This was a borderline. John Ryder, the Guerrilla Ryder, a borderline, European level fighter, certainly borderline world class. Then he ended up taking the Peds, allegedly. And before you know it, he's won a title and he gets Canelo. Yeah, and the other dude, Munguia, he must be, he's done well, man. Being John Ryder must be quite sweet. Going, I can overachieve. I've got my nice house. He must get, he needs to do a Carl Froch and invest in property and be really tight. Carl Froch is so tight. He collects things like Groupon vouchers and uses them in the supermarket. Well, we all know the old onion ring story. Time Booth said it. Yeah, he went with a couple of pals to some restaurant. I think it might have been his own restaurant. Comes to paying the bill. He doesn't pick up the check, Carl Froch. The bill's like about £30 or something, or a bit more. 50 or so at the most, and he's like, let's just split it 3 ways. We'll go for whatever, 15 quid each or whatever it was. I can't fetch price. No, mate, I've only had onion rings. They're only $7.99. Why should I pay £15 when my onion rings were only $7.99? Tight bastard. And that Rachel she thought she hit a jackpot. She wanted to marry money. Also, she wants to have a stupid face in the limelight, but she wants the money. Right, obviously, and Carl Froch, he's going to be real tight. Why do you have to buy that one? Can't you buy that one? Oh, I want Versace. Look, people are going to laugh at me if if I get Primark, they want to see me in Versace, whatever. They probably have all these rows all the time, and she's probably like, you probably give her a credit card with a limit, a really low limit. Yeah. But she'll dry up. She'll refuse to give pom-pom and shiners. If Carl ain't getting his cash out, it's basically she's a hooker. Let's be honest. Rachel is a brass, more or less. She's always looked for a rich, famous man with cash money. In which case, you can have a pum pum. What about that? That's called being a brass. Anyway, I can't remember why I went on that rant. I have no idea. Yeah. Anyway, I was talking about Berlanga, Benny Blanco. You're looking for the Canelo fight naturally. I don't, does he deserve it or whatever? I mean, boxing crooked, you don't need to deserve anything. Can he get the numbers? I just don't think he's that impressive. Now, there's a long history of a haterism between Mexico and Puerto Rico, man, in boxing. There's been all kinds of fights. Edwin Rosario, Chavez. It's been going on through the years, It's, funnily enough, Puerto Rico, if you look at it population-wise, Puerto Rico population is, let me find it exactly, because I've got these kind of things wrong before, but I think it's about 5 mil. Let's have a look at this thing. 3.264 million in Puerto Rico. Mexico, I'm sure it's about 150 million or something. I'm checking out. Let's have a look. I don't like assumption is the mother of all mess ups, right? I don't want to assume something. I want the data to be certain. 126.7 million in 2021. So I was almost bang on for both of those. Yeah, I'm pretty proud of that. So, but it's kind of nuts, isn't it? They've got this big rivalry, and you've got a tiny nation, of Puerto Rico, with 3.26 million. Right? That's less than Ireland. Is that less than Wales? I think so. Certainly less than Scotland, and they've got a lot of good fighters there. Hector Macho Camacho, Edwin Rosario. I think even Frez Oquendo, the great Frez Oquendo, is from Puerto Rico. But they have got this rivalry, even though Mexico has so many more people. But Mexicans are not very athletic. They're not good sportsmen. Their diet doesn't lend itself either to sports. A lot of beans, and they've got bellies, and they're short. When they come to America, they tend to become bigger. But you got Andy Ruiz, Toledo, De La Hoya's quite tall. Chris Arreola, Alex Garcia, heavyweights up there. But Mexicans are not, not that athletic. They don't do well in any other sports, really, do they? Yeah, and the football is a passion there, but they're not good at it. But fighting they can do. But people don't understand, just because you're Mexican doesn't mean you can fight. There's loads of absolute awful, terrible Mexicans, Mexican road sweepers who can't fight. That's a phrase caused by Nigel Benn, who never actually fought a Mexican in his career. But it's a great phrase. But, the ones that come to the top, obviously, are going to be very good because they come right through the grind. But, yeah, so Canelo vs. Berlanga is a Mexico vs. Puerto Rico fight. So that could go down real good, for that reason only. But I don't think Berlanga would have any chance against Canelo. I know it's not a particularly interesting fight. Berlanga is proved himself to be a world-class fighter, but not a great one, right? Could he win the world title? Well, it depends, as I said many times. Depends who you fight, It depends who you fight. If you fight that's a bum, if you're going to say, would he fight a middleweight title and the champion's Marvin Hagler, it's going to be a lot harder. And if the champion's Vito Antuofermo, who was tough, by the way, or whatever, so I'm not disrespecting him. He actually took Hagler to a draw, but I'm trying to think, who are the wackest middleweight fighters? There are plenty, I'm sure. So if you get one of them whack ones, good luck to you. But, I'm not particularly excited by Berlanga. I got no special interest. He showed some half-decent power, some patience, for what that's worth. There we go. We move on.